Hello, friends. How are you today? I'm so excited to be here with you and to talk about the Schumann resonance and to talk about energy. I love talking about this with you guys because, in my view, learning about energy and how energy works and why it's meaningful in our lives can lead us to taking greater command of our own selves and our own energy, of being able to truly own our space, the space of our bodies and our energy field, and to be able to more clearly speak to and imagine what we truly wish to create in our lives. So I'm really excited to have this discussion with you. Today, there was this amazing wave on the chart, and I looked at this. I was up late last night, and I made some mirrored images of it. And one of the things that, you notice is it definitely looks like angel wings. I mean, there's two waves here. And I mirrored them all sorts of ways. But the thing that I found when I mirrored them was that none of the images in the middle were very were very attractive. In fact, and by that I mean appealing. And in fact, these images here, especially sort of when I mirror the outside of this wave, I actually felt like pain in my heart, like it was unpleasant when I was, looking at these images for whatever reason. But what it said to me was, it's really interesting. I had this feeling when I looked at the energies that the wave itself is, this is intuitive interpretation, but it looks to me like, here's the wave, and then here's this big wave that just, kind of comes in out of nowhere, fully formed. And as I was, trying to mirror these waves, what I found was that it didn't seem like it was possible to tell exactly where one wave started and the other wave stopped. And that was really interesting to me. When I look through here and try, okay, does it start here? Does it start there? You can't really tell. And it's like they're merged at some point, or like they're one at some point, or like this first wave here is sort of tucked under the wing, if you will, of this second wave. And that's when it, as I looked at it, what I felt was that there's this comforting feeling. This is my intuitive read. There's a comforting feeling with this energy. It's like, oh my goodness. I don't know what just happened with that, but it's, yeah, look at that. That's when it's on its side. It's the first one's almost like a comet, isn't it? Like, look at that energy. And it's even like I always think of this as a fiery, whenever energy looks like this in the Schumann, which it has recently, the last few weeks, it looks like a comet moving forward in space. And then here's this other wave, just like, I got you. Like it's together, right? Even if in this experience, we can't tell that this other wave is there, we can't see it. It's almost like it's in a different dimensional state, right? It's like there's a shift here in the energies. And what I would say is that I'm reading a different, like a dimensional layer of expression. Okay. And And so sometimes we can't perceive energy that is in a different dimensional state than we are. And it might just be because we don't have the skills, because we've never thought about that before or been taught about it. But it also could be that we haven't learned to just rely on our human intuition. And this is something that was so fascinating in my human energy class, that we started to learn together. Of course, I've been doing this for years, but it's wonderful to walk through the experience of discovery with everyone. I mean, we're on a 2-week break right now, and I really miss you guys. I really miss the class and connecting with you guys every week. Okay, so there's a link to that below if you're interested in the next one, which starts on July 12th. I have had some people contact me, and I'm going to be putting a page up on the website. I just haven't finished that yet, but by the weekend, I'm hoping to get that up. But you can still just email me at the link. Okay, so one of the things that we've talked about and even practiced is learning to trust ourselves. And it's interesting because in the non-physical, when we're perceiving that, our human capabilities that we have already developed come into play and are very, very helpful. So using your intuition, using your own inner guidance that you already have access to, the voice of your conscience, or that impulse from within that says, yeah, this is it, or no, it's not. And, another way of looking at that is how it feels within, right? How does it feel when you assess it from your heart space? Does it give you a heart opening effect? Does it give you a heart closing effect? That one my friend Alex loves to focus on assessing from that perspective. And it is. You can absolutely see if your energy field contracts or expands in the face of asking yourself a question or considering an energy. So there's a trust here that develops, and this wave below seems much more spiritual, doesn't it? It seems much more dynamic, and so on. And so learning to trust, I have this feeling, and yes, that's true. That's true for you. That's how you begin. You develop that trust. That's how you begin to understand non-physical energies that you may or may not experience or interact with. All right, now let's go back to this page here because I want to show you something cool. Where is it? Where did I put it here? There it is. So I felt like this was a huge, big angel hug. And it really, my intuitive read, and I am going to look at the black charts with you in a sec, but my intuitive read of this energy is that it aligns so well with the energies of the new moon, right? We still are in the new moon period. We're really deep in it because we're really only a day and a half. And it's like 3 days past the peak of the new moon that the energy is considered to be very, very strong. And so in this reading, and I encourage you to take a look at my astrology video for it. It'll be linked below too. It's the last video that I posted. I want to share with you that I said some really, really interesting things and messages for women in that. And, because of the algorithms and search and everything, I'm careful about how I talk about it, maybe more careful than I need to be. But over time, hopefully I'll just be more comfortable about sharing. I do share on this channel a lot of mysticism and a lot of energy information that would have been considered secret, that would have been considered, that would not have been shared in previous times. And thankfully, all of us are, there are many people that are sharing like this now, but I have an acute sense of that and of not speaking about it for a very long time, very, very long time. So anyway, I don't know, for some reason I just, so I kind of feel a little bit like the woman in this sometimes with my sharing of information. It's just a thing for me that I deal with, and that's why it's taken me 10 years to finally start doing videos where I talk about this. Or I guess it didn't take 10, it took 8. But anyway, 7 or 8. So that's a Saturn cycle, right? 7 years building, creating the structure to do something. Back to the video, back to the topic at hand. It's this feeling that the divine is always with us. And it's more than that too, because there's an independence here that we have when we are able to rely on the feeling that the divine has our backs, that we have a safety and security that is far beyond what one would think is possible in the regular human world. And that comes when we align with the divinity within us and act from there. And there are many people that you see doing this. And I want to talk about a TV show because this exact concept, it's something that, years ago I was watching a TV series and the main character embodied this so clearly. And it always perplexed me until I really understood, I really got it. There was this TV series called Andromeda, and it was a science fiction show. The concepts in that TV series, I highly recommend watching it. It's so relevant today if you can, if you like science fiction. But there are so many concepts, and it was actually an idea from the mind of Gene Roddenberry, who also created the Star Trek series. But anyway, this one has Kevin Sorbo in it, and I love him as an actor too. He's so great at, he was so great at communicating the energy of the main character here. And in my view, it took me a long time to understand this, but the way that he embodied that character was how I could imagine the Christ energy being embodied in living human form. And that's saying a lot there, but it took me quite a while to understand that. And, because when I thought about his character and how he stood up to evil, essentially, in the show, and how he was always unharmed, and how he always was able to fully embody his energy, and how he was respected by beings of all levels of light and from all sides of, from the other side of the spiritual warfare and his own side, because he was a character essentially in the middle. He embodied divinity for himself. And I might be putting a lot into this TV character. And that's okay, because we see something and then we extrapolate the meaning for us. And I admit that when I perceive something outside of myself, I then extrapolate and put it into, the context that is meaningful for me, which is all the stuff I always talk about on my videos related to energy and related to connectedness with, the source that we are from, the creator, the spark of the God force that enliven us, the soul that lives, as us in this human form that we are, but we just don't remember, right, where we come from. But the way that he pulled that off, right, as, representing this character who was, the main character in this Andromeda show, but it addresses so many aspects of, the spiritual war, if you will, and so many of the characters that are present that can be perceived from Earth as a living human being that actually, in my view, exist in the non-physical, and work through human beings. In other words, there are human beings that align with these energies. I don't want to get too off track here. But what I was trying to say is there's a spirit of independence in that. There's a spirit of, shifting to talking about Jesus as an example. There's a spirit of independence that Jesus Christ embodied that we don't normally talk about as a fiery, independent spirit. I talked about it a little bit in the video of the astrology, because I talked about the energy of Quetzalcoatl, who a Mesoamerican, figure, who, in my impressions of having experienced observing this energy in the non-physical, is said to be a Christ figure. But wow, the way that this energy is embodied there is so fiery and strong. And from the stories in the Bible, Jesus just throwing the moneylenders out of the temple, that's an independence of spirit, and they didn't fight him on that. When you read the story, you totally get the impression that they understood, right? That when he was in the temple and he was tossing their tables over, that they were in the wrong. In other words, the frequency that they were bringing to the temple depressed the divinity that was supposed to be present in the temple. And this is something that you find in the environment around us. There are beings, right? And human beings that will purposely depress energies in a human space, okay? And it could be in groups. It could be land formations. And the reason that they do this is that they need these landing platforms. I have a video where I talk about this. I talk about how certain non-physical beings need landing platforms to be able to exist in our reality. They need frequency bases to attach to here. And that's why they purposely lower frequency. And when there are human beings aligned with these beings, consciously or unconsciously, they will assist in creating these landing frequency pads. And so here's the deal, okay? What I'm trying to say is that we can embody this independence of spirit, okay? And I see this is us right here. This is the human in form, right, in physical form. And we may or may not understand that the divinity that we are is right there with us, okay? Right there with us. It's got our back. There are so many resources spiritually that are at our fingertips that we have access to, and we just don't know it. We just don't know it because we haven't learned. We haven't been taught. The information has been hidden from us, and it's time for that to end. It's time for us to be able to have access. And the fact is we always have had the ability to have access. And we don't need anyone else's permission, because if the divinity within you says, yes, this is for you, then you have a divine right through the divine authority that is nested within you to make that choice, to choose that path, to embody whatever that is for you. And how does this relate to the new moon and the astrology? Because I really would love for you guys to watch that video. The part about women and the home, and I do address men as well. So in the video, what I talk about is that in this new moon, we want it all. Right? All these energies are available to us. And it's so fascinating because in the sign of Cancer, it's so highlighted in these energies now. Okay, this is the first new moon past the solstice. You've seen, I did the astrology reading on the Schumann wave. I mean, the energies were phenomenal, amazing, and very, supportive for creativity. Right? Very supportive of the light within us. And in the house of Cancer right now, there's Eros, the moon, the sun, abundance, the asteroid, Lilith, Ceres, Eros, which is a desire for authentic long-term love, lasting relationships that are meaningful. And Lilith, the independent woman, okay? And all of this is in a daisy chain, okay? A daisy chain that includes Medea, the psychopath right here, Varuna, the god of the sea and of justice in the Hindu pantheon. And that asteroid is right here. Medea is right here. This isn't a line of pearls, okay? And Varuna is about to connect in coming months with Medea, the psychopath. And when that happens, in my view, justice prevails, okay? And we have a hint of that now. We have a hint of that now at the summer solstice. And the last point here, vertex, at least on the chart for San Francisco, but likely for most charts in the USA. Okay, and the thing about this is that we are invited to claim our independence back from the world. Okay, from the matrix, from what's external to us. And relying on the divinity within, okay, relying on God. When we fall back onto that and we live our independence in alignment with the force within us that is us is us in divinity. There's no separation here. There's no separation between the waves. But when we choose independence in alignment with our spiritual guidance, with our inner self, with the true expression of ourself, to the greatest extent that we can manage that, then we move forward as an independent, energetically sovereign being, living in human form with a living soul. And we make our choices accordingly. And the whole focus here at the summer solstice, when the light is the greatest, right? The light is, the sun shines for the greatest amount of the day. And it's shining into our homes. And it's encouraging us as women to become independent. And in what way? Through our reliance on God. Okay, what a concept that you can become independent. You can unhook from the complexities of the world, from the traps that are set for us, from the engagements that steal our energy, from what is not on our true path. And you gain that independence by aligning with the truth of who you are, by returning to the light within, to the center of who you are and expressing from there, which is in alignment with divinity. That's where the soul has the seat in the heart, the portal of the heart. And this is the ultimate journey and expression of Lilith, okay? The independent woman fully healed. And from this place, that's when you meet your ultimate partner. Okay, that's when you meet the man that you deserve, that is in that place as well, right? The expression of the divine masculine living in human form, who has gained this independence within himself as well. And from there, you take control of your fertility, right? You take control of these decisions. And I explain in detail about this in my video. But it's we're very capable as women of doing this. And this is something that I have done through my life. So I've lived it, so I understand and I know. And there's much more to it than I was able to put in that video or that I can say here at this time. And this is maybe something for my Rumble channel if people are interested for the future. But with that, we get love. We get our love back. Right? We get that energy back when we dissociate from that which is not in alignment with the truth of who we are and our highest good and our highest outcomes and our life as living embodied souls in human form, right? Loving who we are first. We get love. We get our fertility back. We get creativity back. We get to have the home that we've always desired. First in the human body by taking responsibility for ourselves and our lives. And then in the home that we create in the world, in our dwelling, in our abode, in the sacred hearth that we tend each day in our living space, pouring love into this space, pouring love out from the infinite supply of who we are. And friends, this has been a journey for me that I have walked in my life. It has been excruciatingly difficult to get to the place where I embody some of these things to a great extent, and some of them I'm still struggling with. Okay, so I'm not perfect. Okay, so I want to, and this is how I learn. I look at those imperfections and then I bring divine guidance to it and I ask for help and then I can share. I can share about it. But this has been a path that I've walked, and from completely negative self-talk and negative attitudes in the home to turning that around 180 degrees in the other direction, darkness to light. And it's a painful process at times, a challenging process, but it's so worth it. And all along, I finally came to see that God has my back, that I'm not alone, and that I've never been alone in this, and that the answers I need are there. They're there for me, and they bubble up from within, from the connection with my divine source, when I'm ready to receive them, when I'm ready to live it, in fact. I just wanted to show you the black charts here, and you can see that so there's two waves, and let's just look here. So the second wave starts from about 4 to, just before 8. And the first wave is from 1 to 4. Okay, so let's just remember that because I put them both in the black here. So 4. Okay, so that's the second wave. So you can see that the big dip down comes with the second wave, where the divinity makes itself known. Right? I've got you. I'm there with you. And sure enough, that's when you see the big dip to the lower end of the frequency range. In recent videos, I've described the different ways that the waves affect the frequencies. It's pretty cool. And then the amplitudes, this has been some very powerful energies here. And in the earlier spike, I just want to point this out, in the earlier spike in the chart, although I went over this in a different video, 59, we've had some strong energies here in the yellow, okay? And that's pretty meaningful. So this angel wing probably spiked at about 60, which is still very strong, and about 40, maybe 38 or 37 in yellow, and about 20, 21, 22 in green, and maybe about 28 in red. So still like healthily strong, okay, but much stronger in the white and the yellow. And this was really interesting. Before this wave, we had little spikes, okay, in the white here to about 10. A nice, meaningful spike here in yellow, okay? And I've talked about darkness rises before the light, okay? So this little spike here came right around here, okay? So in between this clearing in the lower hertz, this would be from our unconscious brain waves up until even into the low beta. Okay, so our waking state, and then we start, getting the coffee and thinking in the morning, wait, what do I need to do today? Okay, so that's the whole area that the clearing happened. And then there was a spike in yellow, and then the wave came. And a spike in white accompanying that, but not very high, just at 9.9. And, it was a nice quality in green to mid-range, about 15, 16, 17, not quite 17, maybe 15. So what I felt like, and here you have the red rising here. Now this is in the first part of the wave, right? In the human, the part that I described as representing the human on earth. And it could be our passion rises as we get the sense that divinity is near, but it also could be that our fear rises and we're comforted by the divine in that moment. So that's how I interpret the numbers here. And thanks so much for watching. With Alex, I made this beautiful image this morning, so I thought I'd share it with you on this video. I've been having so much fun doing art with the Schumann stuff, and I hope to do more with it. So, and I knew that I needed to change the thumbnail on my astrology video, so I'm putting this out again in social media, because sometimes I get the energy, and then it takes me a while to come up with the creativity. And when that happens, sometimes it's divine timing, that it just wasn't time, and sometimes it's that I need to reveal the energy sort of within to myself first. It's almost like when you have a feeling and it's hard to talk about it because it hasn't quite bubbled up from the subconscious to the clarity of mind to be able to verbally express, or even in thoughts express. Sometimes the art is like that for me. And speaking about the topics that I talked about in the astrology video were like that for me, because I feel really comfortable talking about energy. But when it comes to talking about energy and expressing this in human form, it's personal. It's really personal. And so I guess it just took a moment for me to really get it, get how I was feeling about this and what I wanted to communicate. So I really desired to make an inspirational video today, one that was encouraging, because I woke up this morning, even though I'm recording this now, it's the later afternoon, but I woke up this morning and I just had this strong feeling that I was looking for inspiration and something to kind of buoy me in these external energies that don't resonate, but are still like, what? It's still like when I scroll through social media, I still have to look at it, because unless I just, I don't know, somehow narrow it down, but only look at my feed or something. But, the feed that I create. But I felt like you guys wanted some encouragement today. That's what my guidance says. And so that's why I spent so much time at the beginning speaking about inspiration. And I just wanted to express my love here for all of you who are listening, and my gratitude for you being here with me. I so appreciate you guys, and I want you to know that you guys are part of the creative process. And there are some people that I want to thank before I go, and I'll probably, put it in writing again. Maybe I'll just put it in writing right now. But there's a couple people in particular who have supported me for, quite some time, including, from the beginning. And I'm just going to mention some of you here now. Paul, Cal, and Rudy. And there's another woman. I'll have to get your name. No, I'm not going to get your name because it was anonymous. There's an anonymous woman. You know who you are. That I want to thank as well. But, Paul and Cal and Rudy, don't think I didn't see your early support. I did. And I really appreciate your checking in once in a while. But Paul and Cal, you guys have really been with me for like a really long time now. And I just want to express my gratitude. Thanks so much. And thanks to all of the other people who have contributed to my channel. I really appreciate your support.